Thank you. Okay, so good morning, guys. This is Samadia from VBind Education Technologies, Mumbai. VBind brings industry experts live into your classrooms, and today we have Mr. Yash Chawla, a sports correspondent with NDTV, joining us for a session on reporting and journalism. So, Mr. Chawla will be educating us on uh, reporting and journalism. How is it different from the books? Mr. Yash Chawla has got experience of more than 6 years, and so without any further delay, I invite Mr. Chawla to take over. Over to you, sir. Sir, we have got Madras Christian College, we have got Government Degree College from Baramulla, Kashmir, and we have got KBS College joining in.
All
And
right, thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. I hope you're having a good day in all parts of the country, wherever you are, right from Baramulla to Madras Christian College in Chennai and KBS Business School, whom I can't see right now. But a big hello to everyone, and thank you so much for subscribing to VBind and joining us and listening to me as well. So, as the representative from VBind, Mr. Samad, he said that I have over 6 years of industry experience of working with NDTV. I have been, that's right, and I have been here in Delhi working with this organization since 2009. I interned here first, and now I have started, and then I started working around 6 years back. So yeah, that's primarily my experience, and I would not delay this much, and I would straight away start with, today's proceedings. So if you can see, I will just start on with my. I hope you guys can see the presentation, the slides. If yes, you can please raise your hand.
yes, it is clearly
Oh,
visible.
perfect. Perfect. Let me just go full screen, and then we can start. One second. If you can just give me 1 second, we can start. So, yes. So I hope you can see all the screens, all the monitors. All right. First up, I'm just trying to figure out how this. 1 second. I'm so sorry. I'm just having some trouble trying to arrange this monitor. If you could give me 2 more minutes or a minute more maximum, I will be able to get it back. I'm really sorry for the delay.
No worries.
All right. I hope.
Okay, it's still not visible clearly. If you could just
I
restart the
One
screen
second. I
sharing, I
will
think it will.
stop share.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Is it visible now?
Oh, it's perfect now.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. This is a masterclass on reporting. We talk about real world functioning and dynamics because what I have observed in the last 6 to 7 years that I've been working here, that whatever you learn in your schools, you need to unlearn when you go to college. Whatever you need to learn in your college, you need to unlearn when you go to wherever you are interning and then subsequently working. That is not undermining, and I'm sorry, the teachers out there, I'm sorry, I'm not undermining what the teachers are teaching you. But what I firmly believe is that a lot of experience, a lot of times hands-on experience by going there, by maybe a radio channel, maybe a news channel, maybe a newspaper, maybe a website. You need to go there, experience it, and then start understanding what this is all about. So again, reiterating the point that we're talking about real world functioning and dynamics, how exactly we have to adjust and learn new things in order to work in this world. So let me start. What is journalism? Reporting. What is journalism? Journalism is basically an act of informing people, an act of letting people know that what is happening around them, something, any information which is useful, any information which is of any importance to them, you need to inform the masses, the public about that. So as correctly said, it is the fourth pillar of democracy, and it's a big responsibility, I say, because you need to understand that what you're saying, people will take your word for granted. And there lies a very important point that A, you cannot lie, B, you cannot smudge facts and numbers, and C, you have to be honest with yourself. So being a journalist, the most important thing is you need to be honest with yourself. You cannot construct stories, you cannot construct facts, you cannot construct numbers, because somewhere down the line, it's going to hurt someone's future. It's going to affect someone's life. So we have to be pinpoint, we have to be straight, we have to be honest. And this is the primary reason why I asked this question: why do you want to be a journalist? I started 7 years ago, and I wanted to be a journalist because, as always, as almost everyone, I wanted to make a change. I wanted to go out there to tell people good stories, meaningful stories, stories which will not only affect their lives but help them improve their lives. And that is the reason I wanted to be a journalist, and that is the reason I became a journalist. And this branch here, what we are talking about, is a branch of developmental journalism. You do things to help your society develop, to help your society improve, the members of the society to be better citizens, and that is the reason why you do journalism. Okay, I have a point to make here. If anyone at any point of time have a question, you can, we can do it two ways. Either you can interrupt, or you can ask a question right now. You can raise your hand, and we can take questions right now, or we can do it at the end of the presentation, or whatever is convenient. So what I would suggest, if you have your pen and paper, and you can make your notes, you can keep noting down questions that you want to ask me, and I promise I will address every single question of yours. Okay, so coming back to the presentation, the media industry, it has a lot of components. So what we started right at the time of partition and right at the time of independence, our media was at a very nascent stage, at a very primary, basic stage. We were dealing with a few hundred newspapers, a lot of regional dialect newspapers, and that's about it. Radio was controlled primarily by the government, and private ownership of radio channels wasn't allowed. It was illegal at that time. Then slowly, as we learned from countries around us, from the countries around us in the world, maybe in Southeast Asia, maybe North America, Europe, that we need to start independent reporting. independent journalism, because being being a sole representative of the government, you cannot satisfy people, because people will always say that this is what the government says, but what is the real story? So that is the reason why privately owned newspapers, then radio channels, then news channels, and then websites started functioning. So a point here to note is that half of India's population is under the age of 25. You all are, I'm sure, below the age of 25. I've just crossed 25. So half of the population is under 25. What do we want? We want more and more to read and more to see. If you look at your Facebook feed, okay, if you just open your phone and you see your Facebook, there are a lot of videos coming in. Maybe there are times when there are junk videos. There are times when there is a video of a cat maybe sleeping, or maybe a dog maybe barking, or maybe a boy hitting himself on his head, and it's funny. But we want more and more to see. And similarly, we want more and more to read. What does that mean? We are using a lot of internet. We are using a lot of data. We're using a lot of megabytes and gigabytes in order to keep ourselves abreast with the world. So for some, maybe reading about Brexit, Britain exiting the European Union is important. For some, maybe tagging people on Facebook is important. It's a different thing. So that is the reason why the digital journalism is a new big thing. We at NDTV, we ensure that whatever we do, our stories on television, we ensure that we first write for ndtv.com, the website, and we put our stories there. Because these days, let's be honest, people don't watch television much, people don't read newspapers much, but people do log on to websites, anything, be it ndtv.com, be it Times of India, be it Quint, be it anything. And this is primarily aided by the use of smartphones. The smartphones are dictating the media industry, because let's be honest, how many hours do you spend on your smartphone? I would assume 2, 3. This is the reason why we would prefer more and more new journalism or digital journalism specialists to join the industry, because this is where this industry is growing. And yes, TV is doing its share, print is doing its share, but the internet is growing. And mind you, I'm not undermining what the capability of television is, because as you can read on the screens, we are the second largest television market in the world. And mind you, it is in only 36 years. Television in India came long back. Color television started in India in the year 1982 during Asian Games. And since then, we are the second largest market. And guess what? Who is the largest market? China. We're going to outgrow them when it comes to economic numberings, when it comes to population as well. So yes, we would be the largest market in the world maybe in a few years from now. So I'm not undermining television, but yes, new media or digital journalism or internet is the new big thing. And if you are focusing towards journalism, you want to make a career in journalism, then I would request you give it a serious thought and think about new media or digital journalism. And that is where the future lies. My journey in reporting and journalism and media. Okay, so I studied in Bangalore, University of Bangalore. I did my graduation, I finished in 2009, and I got this offer from NDTV to come and intern with the NDTV Media Institute, which is, I would say, one of the best media institute, which gives you the best on-hand or on-desk experience, because here they give you around 3 months of classroom studies, followed by around 6 to 7 months of on-job training. So imagine you wake up in the morning, you get a call saying, go to office, you got to work on this. You walk into office, you see who? Barkha Dutt. You see who? Dr. Pranoy Roy. And you have to sit down, you have to talk to them, you have to work with them, you have to understand what they want, and then accordingly, you have to work. So that's how I started. This institute gives you a lot of chances to rub shoulders with the biggest who's and who's of news industry, especially NDTV. And that's how I started. So I finished my graduation, then I came here, I did my course from the NDTV Media Institute, and I started working. The transition was different because from what I learned during college, and then when I came to NDTV, it was a bit different. I had to unlearn a lot of things. I had to relearn a lot of things in a different way, because every organization has a different way of functioning. Every organization has a different way of working. So you have to adapt to that. And yes, that adaptation time took a lot of time. And then since then I've been working as a sports correspondent, something which I love, because sports is I think my first love. And when I was growing up, when I was in school and when I was in college, I used to be found on sports field, like cricket field or football field, or maybe playing badminton or table tennis or snooker. I was never in the classroom. So yeah, this came to me naturally, that and mind you, I wasn't given an option what I wanted to do. I just had to create my own space. You have to work your way forward. You have to make people understand and realize what is your worth, and show them your worth. You don't need to talk to them about your worth, but you have to show them your worth. And then after all this, it just went on and on. A few good breaking news came my way. I reported. My first assignment was about Commonwealth Games 2010, which New Delhi hosted, which was 6 years ago. That was my first assignment, and then this job has taken me around the world. I have met tons of interesting people, and that's my life. And now there is a transition phase. So I write for the television channel NDTV 24/7. I write for the Hindi channel NDTV India. But now what we are expected, once again, I'm reiterating that point, we were expected to go back and write for NDTV.com. And this I would call a big transition phase in my life. Moving on to the next slide. What is news? Reporting. So this is what I've done for the last 6 years. This has been my bread and butter for the last 6 years. Day in, day out, I have identified stories. I have reported stories to my editors to understand that if that story would work for me, if that story would work for the kind of audience we have, and pushing for those stories. So when you get a story in your mind, I'm sure you're sitting where you are. You have tons of stories. You have a lot of stories around you. I'm just quoting examples. There was a murder in Chennai at a railway station of an Infosys engineer. It was horrible. It was horrible. But at the same time, I need to detach myself from that. I don't need to, emotionally attach myself in a way that, yes, it was a gruesome murder. We need to report this. Yes, we do need to report this. But at the same time, we need to understand why this story would be of any interest to anyone. So for that, we have tools. Those tools are 5 Ws and 1 H of journalism. I'm sure you guys must have learnt about this. If yes, I can if you can raise your hand and say, yes, you have heard about 5 Ws and 1 H of journalism. Anyone? Yes, I can see some hands in Baramulla. I can see a couple of hands in Chennai. Okay, so 5 Ws and 1 H. 5 W stands for what, where, who, why, and when. Okay, I repeat: what, where, who, why, and when. Okay, 5 Ws. So you need to mentally understand what is the story, why did it happen, what exactly happened, when did it happen, and who were the people involved. So if you understand these 5 things, it will be easier for you to report that story. Okay, then 1 H. What is the H? If anyone can guess, anyone wants to raise their hand and guess what was that 1 H? Okay, I can see a couple of hands in Baramulla. If we can possibly raise the unmute them, can we hear them? Sorry, can you say that again, please? How exactly? How it happened? So this exactly is what what intrigues a viewer, what intrigues a reader, what intrigues a subscriber. Then after these 5 W's and 1 H that you identify, you need to have your objective. Why are you doing this story? So in a case, for example, I will quote something from my experience. I'm not sure if you guys would remember, but 2010 Commonwealth Games, which Delhi hosted, we won a gold medal in 4 into 400 meter relay. That was the first medal for India in any championship in Commonwealth Games, Asian Games, Olympics. The first medal for India in track and field in 56 years, 56 long years. It was a huge thing. We went ballistic over it. We were reporting about it. We were interviewing everyone. Then a year later, I got to know that those 4 athletes had taken dope, had taken performance enhancing nutrients, which was very shocking. So I got to know from a source of mine that this was the case. It took me 6 days to find my facts, to find my numbers, to ensure that I give out the best picture possible and I do not take sides. That is where this bit comes in, impartial reporting. So I had seen those 4 into 400 relay girls win medal for India after 56 years, right in front of my eyes. It was a very emotional moment. But a year later, I was under this dilemma that, okay, did they take dope? Did they not take dope? So I did my research. I called up a lot of people. I went and met a lot of people. I did my verifying. I met a lot of people from the National Anti-Doping Agency. And they finally came up with the conclusion that yes, they were dope tainted. After 6 days of research, I finally broke the story on national television, and there was a lot of uproar. A lot of people started questioning, what are your sources? What are your facts? What are your numbers? I gave my facts, I gave my numbers, I gave my evidence, and I got interviews from these people in which they accepted that yes, we took performance enhancing substances. And that story went on air, and that was my first break in sports journalism, in television. And so you have to be impartial, you have to be straightforward, you have to be very careful with your facts, with your numbers. You have to report exactly that, because, okay, the spelling of apple is A-P-P-E-L. Is it right? Give me a thumbs down if it's right. Or give me a thumbs up if it's right, give me a thumbs down if it's wrong. The spelling of apple is A-P-P-E-L. See, everyone's pointing out. It's wrong, right? The spelling of apple is A-P-P-L-E. You know it. I don't know it. So I need to be very careful with my facts. Whatever I say, whatever I talk, it has to be correct. If there is one mistake, you all will simply blast me. You all will simply say, who the hell is this guy? Well, I did not get my facts right. That is why you're blasting me. So you need to get your facts and numbers right. And then at the same time, you need to have the right objectivity. What would you want to go ahead and inform people with the story? Why is the story important for our generation? Why is the story important for our citizens? Why did I do that story? Why did I break the story of dope-tainted athletes? Because it was a very crucial time for us. We had a lot of medals in the 2010 Commonwealth Games. We were gunning to go to the 2012 London Olympics. And before that, we had the 2012 Asian Games as well. So it was a transition phase where, the Indian athletics was very, very, instably poised. And at that time, I felt that if this story goes out, yes, people will be scared of doping. And somewhere down the line, India's doping count will go down. Because what do you guys do? When you read a newspaper and see, oh, this person is dope tainted, it's like, what, man? What kind of person is he? He's taking, performance enhancement drugs to compete at the international level. So I wanted to reduce that. And even if it affected one person, even if one person who was about to have that medicine and he stopped, I feel happy that I have done something for what I have picked up this field for. Okay. So moving on to the next slide, we were talking about getting the facts and the numbers right, but we need to get the story right as well. How do we get the story right? We need to have our sources right. a story doesn't come to you. You go to the story. Okay? You need to be very proactive in order to get a story out. I'll give you another example. A few days back, again, all my examples are sports related because I'm from this industry. A few days back, you must have read that the International Amateur Boxing Association, or IBA, had approved that professional boxers will be allowed to compete at Olympics. Raise your hands if you've heard of this story. Anyone? Oh, one, two. Okay, 3 or 4, 5. Okay, great. So this is a story. And no prizes for guessing, the biggest professional boxer to have come out of India is Vijender Singh, right? Vijender Singh is still the biggest professional boxer. So my first reaction was, oh God, so they're allowing professional boxers, will Vijender participate? So I immediately called up my sources and I checked with them that, boss, is this happening? They're like, no, this is not happening. I said, but are you interested? So the source told me, yes, I am. I would. We are exploring. So I went and I did this story. I sent out the story to my web team, to my television team. I was off. I was on leave at that time. I told my web team and my television team that this is a story. Vijender Singh hints at Rio glory. This is what the headline was, and we ran that story. This was around 6:30 in the evening, and next day morning there were 6 national newspapers. I won't take names, but 6 national newspapers with very senior journalists writing those pieces, and all of them wrote that Vijender Singh doesn't want to be participating in Rio Olympics. My editor was furious. You can understand, right? We ran a story which said Vijender Singh wants to go to Olympics. Next day, 5 newspapers said Vijender Singh doesn't want to go to the Olympics. My editor was furious. Like, furious. What did I do? I called up my source again. I grilled my source. I spoke to him. I tried to convince him. I tried to make him understand that please tell me what is the right thing. Is it true? Is it not true? He said, I will tell you. And then 2 hours later, there was a press conference which was done by Vijender Singh. And he announced there that I am interested. And he announced it. The first person himself announced it to the world that I am interested and I want to go and participate in Olympics. So at the end of the day, what happened? My boss called me up and he said, sorry, I doubted you, but good job. You stuck to your story. You did not change your story. So that's important. If you're confident about your story, if you're confident about your source, do not change. Stick to what you are, stick to your stand. Even if it means that the 5 biggest newspapers in this country are saying the other thing, but you need to stick to your stand. And that helped me. That helped me gain a lot of credibility when it comes to national sports reporting. A lot of people asked me that, how did you get it? So what did I say? I'm sorry, I can't tell you. This exactly is the second point, the wheel of secrecy of a source. You cannot reveal your source. You cannot reveal your source. Even if it means your boss is standing over your head, your editor is standing over your head, and he says or she says, what is your source? And you'll be like, you trust me, you have to trust my source. But before you say those words, you need to be confident about your source, right? You need to be very sure about what are you saying, what are you talking, what are you reporting. So you would ask me, how is it that you don't get sources like this, right? Like someone just say, you call up someone and say, hello, is this happening? No, it's not happening. Why is this not happening? But now the point here is you need to cultivate your source. You meet your source. Say maybe your source is Mr. X. Okay. Let's say your source is Mr. X. So you meet Mr. X somewhere. You talk to Mr. X. You tell Mr. X that, thank you for helping me out the earlier times. If he had, or if he hasn't, then tell him or tell her that, I would be needing your help in the future. Stay in touch with Mr. X. If it is required, go meet Mr. X or Miss X, whoever, and bring that confidence in that Mr. X or Miss X can tell you things without, and they should have the confidence that you will not reveal his or her name to the world. And that is how you create and cultivate your sauce. And once that confidence comes, you would be able to report very confidently, very pro-efficiently, and people will trust you and people will trust your judgment. Okay? Moving on. Investigative reporting. This is one thing that I had briefly touched upon. I've done it a bit, and probably that's the reason why we've included this in our slideshow, in our presentation. So I told you about the doping case in 2010, about how the dope-tainted athletes were there. All of those athletes belong to National Institute of Sports in Patiala, NIS. It is one of the premier sports institutes in the country. It is funded by the government, and a lot of thousands of athletes live there. There are lots of coaches, foreign coaches as well. So it's a big, huge establishment which the government funds, Sports Authority of India funds. So after this, I asked a lot of people that, is it so easy to find performance enhancing drugs? And they said yes. And I said, okay, let me find out. So I went to National Institute of Sports Patiala, and I wore track pants. I did not wear jacket like this or shirt like this. I wore a t-shirt, and I pretended that I'm a shot put thrower. Shot put, when you have a big ball, you throw the ball. I pretended that I was a shot put thrower, and I went to a medical shop, and I said, "Bhaiya, मैं national खेलता हूँ और अच्छा medal नहीं आ रहा, थोड़ी मदद कर दो, रेलवे में नौकरी मिल जाएगी." Exactly the words that any athlete would use, because we would want certain jobs, we would want certain money, and we would want glory, we would want medals, and this is an easy way to get medals, albeit it's wrong. So this guy gave me performance enhancing drugs. He told me that, take this medicine, take this pill, this should do this should do that, and I recorded all of that. I was wearing chashmas, glasses, and it had a small tiny hole which had a camera in it. And I had a buttonhole. So buttonhole cameras are like these regular buttons. There's a small camera in it. I recorded all of it. By that time, I didn't even know it was called sting operation, but I recorded it. It was good visuals. So in television, it is very important that you get good visuals. You see something interesting. The other day, there was this story about how 3 cops were fighting in Lucknow. How many of you saw that? Can you raise your hands? 3 cops beating each other in Lucknow. Okay. People in Baramulla are very, very well informed. I'm very happy to see that. So, it was good visuals. NDTV carried that story, and it was good visuals that, 3 cops are fighting each other on division of their weekly hafta that you create, that you collect from people. So it was good visuals. Same way, this story which I shot, it was good visuals. So we took it, we carried the story. But here, there is a very thin line. You have to divide between what is right, what is wrong, what are the do's, what are the don'ts, and how do you go about investigative reporting. So first up, you need to have a case study. Someone who has been in this situation before. So I tried to convince a person who was taking performance enhancing drugs to speak to me. But again, you can't speak, you can't name that person, you can't show that person. So what I did was I made him turn around behind the back. I shot from the back. So his head was there and he was talking to me. I morphed his voice as well. So I got a case study and he told me everything about how and what performance enhancing drugs are, and since how long the person has been taking those drugs and what exactly happens after that. And then I did this sting operation, which I later got to know that it is called sting operation because I never knew what sting operation was. And I did the story. So there are risks, rewards, and rules. Rules are you cannot reveal your case study. If that case study insists that do not reveal my name or my face to the public, you do not do that. You have to be very secretive. Rewards are people will say, okay, good job. You got a good story up. You got a good sting done. Risks, there are a lot of risks. If you get caught while doing sting operations, you get crashed. You get beaten up. People might do anything. It could be anything. I mean, it is very uncertain what would happen to you. So if you're about to go into a story and reach that stage when you have to do investigative reporting with sting operations, you have to be very careful, very, very careful. Think about all the alternatives 10 times over and then do it. That is my only request. And that is my only suggestion. Okay, moving on. Sports journalism. This is what I've done all my life. This is what I do. This is what I want to do in my future as well. What is the public expectation? That we tell people, we inform people what is happening. We get you face to face with prominent personalities in sports. We do good interviews with, say, Virat Kohli or MS Dhoni or say Gagan Narang or Abhinav Bindra, and those stories come to you. You listen to those people. You get inspired. You want to do more. You want to pick up a racket and start playing tennis like Sania Mirza. That's exactly what our job is. Ground realities. It's very difficult. It's very cutthroat. As you know, there are 6 major news channels in English, and there are some 25 odd news channels in Hindi. It is very difficult to keep at par with everyone because everyone's going in a different tangent, and it's very difficult to get interviews. It's very difficult to get stories. But again, these are what is called as challenges. Perks: you meet these personalities. You meet Virat Kohli, you meet Sachin Tendulkar, you meet Abhinav Bindra, you meet Gagan Narang, you meet Sushil Kumar. Well, you get pictures for your Facebook and your Instagram and your Twitter. But at the same time, you start developing these personal relations with these people. So you become, I would not say friends, but good acquaintances with these people. People like Gagan, people like Abhinav, people like Sushil Kumar, people like Virat Kohli, MS Dhoni. And, again, you're cultivating a source. And yes, they are your acquaintances. And, if there's any doubt or confusion at any point of time about anything, you can just give them a call and ask them. So, yeah, that's what happened. So, yes, as a sports journalist, as a sportsman who became a sports journalist, I had a lot of fanboy moments. You walk into a room and you see Sachin Tendulkar sitting. I'm like, okay, I can die now. I've met Sachin Tendulkar. I've met my idol. So these are the perks. Talking about career now, since all of you are sitting in this, you are at this very crucial stage of your life and you're actually deciding about what you want to do, where do you want to go. So again, first point, talking about trends, I mentioned this earlier. The trend right now is about new media, digital journalism, where you not only write like a newspaper, but you do stories on camera like television as well, because everything is accessible and everything is easily comprehensible on new media, on Facebook. I give the example of Facebook very easily. Facebook, you can read as well, you can see as well. Twitter, you can read as well and you can see as well. So this is something that is trending, and this trend is here to stay. Okay, I'm sure a lot of you read online. Maybe less than that, you see TV. And even less than that, you read newspapers. But in order to be a good digital journalist, you need to do it the other way around. You need to read a lot of newspapers, watch a lot of television, and not Colors TV or Sony TV, but news channels, and also read a lot on new media or digital journalism, and not Facebook, okay? Not Facebook. A lot of websites, news websites, you need to read that. And there should be a hunger, there should be an insatiable hunger that I need to read. Like, I need to read. I need to understand what is happening. What is Brexit? What is European Union? I need to know all about it. You go to Google, search for European Union, go to Wikipedia page, read everything about this. Keep yourself informed, abreast. And what happens? You'll sit with 10 people, they will talk about this, and you'll be the one who would know what is Brexit, what are the economic effects of Brexit on India, and that will make you the best person out there. Okay, the most informed person, sorry, not the best person, the most informed person. So this is the trend right now, focusing primarily on new media, digital journalism, and that is the most number of job opportunities available as well right now. What are the skills needed? You need to be a good writer. A good writer doesn't mean that you use the best possible words in English and you need to have the best sources. No. In order to be a good writer, you need to be very clear with what you're writing. Even if it means that you write 5 straight sentences in English without any adjectives, without just simple nouns, simple words, simple language, you'll still be called a good writer. Because it is about reporting. It is not about writing essays. It is about reporting. Okay? It is about telling what is there. Then, after all this, if you get a chance, and if you're applying for interviews, you need to be confident, A. You need to be honest, B. I'll give you an example. When I gave my interview with NDTV, I was asked, do you have any work experience? I was desperate for this job. I so wanted to be with this organization. They asked me, do you have any experience? I said, yeah, I have worked before with Infosys, and after that I worked with Mumbai Mirror. What sort of things you did in Mumbai Mirror? I said, I used to write a side column. You know, you see the whole newspaper, the whole page of sports, and there's a side column, which has 5 different points, 5 different stories in 2 lines. I said, I used to write that. She said, you haven't, my boss said, so you haven't done any direct sports journalism? I said, no, this is what I wrote. You still want to hire me? She said, yes. I was just honest. So a journalist, you need to be honest, very honest. Okay, so I think this is the end of where I stopped talking, and I think your turns now. You guys need to start talking, and I would request the admin who is managing the session to allow you to start talking and ask questions, because I'm sure a lot of people are, I could see people in Chennai with a lot of papers and pens, working furiously, writing points. And I see a lot of enthusiasm from Baramulla as well. So I would request you to start asking questions one by one. Raise your hands, or as the admin says, start asking questions.
So first, let's start with Baramulla College. I'm just unmuting your college. If you've got any question, please come near the screen and ask your question.
Yes, and I would also request if you could give me your name and then you start asking the question. I can't see the video output for KBS Business School.
Yeah, there is some technical error with the KBS.
Okay.
Yeah. And I request KBS, if you've got any question, please use the chat box, and I'll put it over to Mr. Yash.
Sure, that will be great. All right, we have someone in Baramulla. Yes, sir. Tell me your name.
My name is Akash Hassan. Yeah, I'm
Hello,
a second
Akash.
semester student. My question is, as you begin with that, when I joined NDTV, there were a lot of things that I had to unlearn. Can you suggest something that in short course we can do certain things that we have to learn, we have to unlearn least things when we go in the field?
Okay. Something that I did not do was I did not read during the time when I was in college. To be honest, I did not read. I was an average student and I did not pay much attention. I did pay attention towards what I was taught in class. And apart from that, I did not do anything separate. I did not do anything extra. And when that was my cognitive learning. That's how I used to function. And then when I went and started working, I had to unlearn that. And I had to relearn a new way that I need to start reading. I need to read a lot. It has to be like, if you're hungry, you eat. So you need to be hungry in your brains. And that's what I had to unlearn and then relearn back when I joined NDTV. Anyone else?
Yeah, I hope that answers your question. Anyone else from Baramulla College? Before we move on to Madras Christian College. Okay, I think we'll come back again. Moving on to Madras Christian College. Yes, the front bencher seems enthusiastic. Yeah.
Yeah, my name is Maria. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but very faintly. Can you come near the microphone or the screen and then talk?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Please go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Maria. And my question to you is, when you were working for NDTV, and it's one of the best channels that's happening in India. So were there times when you actually felt like, my views and my opinions, I'm being restricted on that? Like, did you ever feel restrained that, I'm not allowed to do what I want to do right now? Like when your stories went online or something.
Well, there's a very interesting question. Well, honestly speaking, till today, it's been close to 7 years now, over 6.5 years now, in fact. I never felt like this. I've never felt like that. By God's grace, I've got some really good editors. My bosses are very supportive. They have instilled me with the confidence to first judge the story myself before getting across to them. So if I know that this story will not impact the audience or it was of no use to the audience, I don't pitch it to the editors as well. But if I feel at times that this story needs to go on air, people need to read about this, people need to see this, people need to understand this, then I talk to them and they always agree. Till today, I have never felt that I have been asked not to do any story, or I have been told, or I feel that my enthusiasm or my creative ideas are put down. No, I haven't. The channel is very supportive. They always we're always pushing the envelope when it comes to reporting and journalism. And I've always been warned: be honest, be truthful, and that's about it. Thank you.
Yes. Any more questions?
Yeah, go ahead.
So my name is Joshua Daniel.
Hello.
The point you said about investigation reporting.
Mm-hmm.
There was one point in that thing, risk.
Yeah.
Does technology today decrease the level of risk in media?
Of course it does. Of course it does. Earlier, maybe 10, 12 years ago, the methods of recording a conversation or the methods of keeping record were very few. Probably you had those old tape recorders, handheld tape recorders. But then with smartphones around, with surveillance, with CCTV cameras, it has changed. The dynamics have changed. So, you've seen those old movies where the hero goes into I'm sorry, I just got a message from KBS Business School and I will answer that question after I finish this. So Siddharth Viri, you can hold. I will answer your question after I finish answering this question. Okay, so you see those old movies where you see a hero walking into a Don's lair, a Don's house, and there are lasers coming in. There are thin wires where if you trip and there will a bomb go off. It is exactly like that. You have to be careful on every single step that you take, because someone out there might record it. Someone there might record your phone conversation, might just record an audio conversation, might record your movement via CCTV, it is a world which is constantly being monitored by people around. So you have to be careful. So I would not say that be like James Bond, that, erase everything and walk off, but be careful. Be careful whom you talk to. Be careful whom you sit with. Be careful whom you are seen around with. That's very important. I have a question from KBS Business School, and this question is from Siddharth Viri. What are the key pointers that we need to keep in mind before we trust our sources? Okay, that's a very good question. That's a very, very good question. First up, you need to understand that how honest is your source. Because once again, it's about honesty. This field is about being truthful. How close is that source to the story? How close that source can get you to the story? And at the end of everything, is there a vested interest with that source? Is the source gaining anything out of that particular story? If you run that story, does he have an axe to grind? Does he have a vested interest? You need to keep all these things in mind. A, trust. If you have the trust in your source. B, there's no vested interest. 3, the source is not gaining anything out of it. Again, okay, it's the vested interest, but these are the things that you need to keep in mind in order to start your trust factor with your source. And I think that answers your question. Thank you. It was a very interesting question.
Yes, please go ahead, Madras Christian College.
Yes, sir. My name is Sachin.
Hi.
My question to you is, the sting operations you perform and stuff, is it an ethical way to do it in journalism? Are sting operations an ethical way to do journalism? Is my question to you.
Well, you're asking for my opinion. Sting operations are the ethical way to do journalism. Well, I feel yes, but it's very judicious that you need to be. You need to understand that is the sting operation adding value to your story? Or is the sting operation maligning someone's image? If the sting operation is adding value to the story, if it is useful for the society, if it will have a positive impact on people around us, then do it. If you feel that it won't have any positive impact and, you're just maligning someone, then don't do it. Yes? I can't hear you.
Sir, I'm Soundarya.
Yeah.
Now, new media has increased and it has a greater impact. And the newspaper and printing media has fall. Do you think this is a good impact or this is a fall down for printing media?
Okay. For answering this question, I'll take you back in history. I'm not sure. I don't remember the exact year or dates, but right in the 19th century, the first Indian newspaper, the Bengal Gazette, started. Newspapers were the only source of information for the next. And then newspapers. People used to read the newspapers. People used to, go listen to the radio separately. Then came television. Television ate up a lot of the pie which the newspapers and the radio channels were sharing. But once again, the normalcy prevailed in the year 1980s, 1990s. But with internet, there seems to be a revolution. If you ask why, then here's the answer. Newspapers are printed. Radio, you can hear. Television, you can see and hear. They're not overlapping each other. But what does new internet or new journalism does? You can read, you can see, and you can hear. So it's overlapping all the things. And that is primarily the reason why it is going up. But let me tell you, the newspapers will never cease to exist. The television will not cease to exist as well. It will still go on, albeit less, but still there. We in television, we've understood, we've realized that we need to have quality now instead of quantity. Because the attention span of a regular viewer is very less. So you need to give quality on air rather than quantity on air, because they're off to their Facebook. So yes, new media, digital journalism is here to stay for a long, long time. It's good. And it provides cutting edge technology, quick answers, quick replies, quick questions. The reason why we all are sitting here, you're listening to me, I'm listening to you, we're having a good conversation here, we're learning something, is because of new age technology. And this only helps us. It's not bad. But yes, television and newspapers will stay, albeit in a lesser quantity, but they will stay.
I guess there is one question from Baramulla College.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And
I saw someone walking up.
yeah, I think this will be the last question because we understand we have to respect Mr. Yash's time and we couldn't just
That's fine. I can spare out another half an hour if you guys insist.
Okay. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please ask the question.
So my name is Yash. I'm a third year MCMT student.
Okay.
So I want to know that I want to know that this if we have to start our career in electronic media, do we have to really start from print media? Is it necessary?
Again, it's a very it doesn't happen anymore now. It doesn't happen anymore. Earlier, what it used to happen that you've had a successful career in print media and then you make your way to television, to electronic. It doesn't happen like that anymore because people want to read straightforward stuff. People want to see what is happening, and with the way we have simplified our reporting or journalism, I think everyone can start off. If you want to start off your career as an electronic journalist, you should start off your career as an electronic journalist. You may probably start. You may intern with a print newspaper, print organization before, but yeah, I mean, you can start off directly. Again, this is from someone who has 6-7 years of work experience. Maybe someone with 20 years of work experience will tell you, no, start with print and then come to new electronic or go to digital. I mean, it depends from person to person. If you feel confident about what you want to do, about how you're doing it, then just take a dive.
So there is one question.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Just a moment. Yes, please go ahead.
So my second question is we have read the topic of anchoring, right? So in anchoring, you have to be very moderate. You have to moderate the show, and you have to just balance the show, and you have to just hear both the sides, right? So can you just throw a light on Arnab Goswami's this moderating the show? How he's moderating the show? Can we call him real journalist?
Well, I'm just one thing to tell you. I'm not competent enough to comment on other journalists. First, his style of journalism is completely different. His style of looking and viewing at things is completely different. I personally may not agree with what he does, but again, India is a free country. Everyone has the right to do whatever they want to do. And yes, he's successful. The numbers and the ratings show. I may personally not agree with what he does and how he conducts a thing, but that's again my personal opinion. And I mean, you need to be impartial, you need to be careful, you need to be straightforward, you need to be objective when it comes to having a discussion. You need to be patient enough to listen to other people and then at the same time respond immediately.
So what are the reasons of his popularity?
Reasons of popularity.
Yes.
When you see something happening and it's not right, what happens to you? You get angry, right? Same happens to them. That's why he's popular.
Okay, so we have got another question from KBS College in the chat box.
Okay. Hello, sir. My name is Paul Verghese. Perks of being a reporter seems lucrative at times, but if you could highlight how much time does a reporter spend on creating one single story? Do they get targets to achieve for creating stories on daily basis? Yes, of course. So you are in this medium where you don't have much luxury of time. You need to be very, very careful about your storytelling time. Say for example, if you're working in television, you need to have your story in a minute and a half and less. So 90 seconds you have to tell your story. B, there are times when you work for a target, and yes, there is always a target that I need to get the story out by this time. So on an average, I get 4-5 hours to finish the story at the most, to gather all my inputs, to start writing the story, to get my story edited and put it on air. I get 4-5 hours, sometimes 15 minutes, sometimes 2 days, sometimes a week. It all depends. If it's a newsworthy story, if it's a very newsy story, say for example, Britain exiting European Union, it's a very newsy story. The deadline for those stories could range anywhere between 1 second to 1 minute. But if you're doing a build-up story to, say, Yogeshwar Dutt's expectations from the Rio Olympics, or Yogeshwar Dutt's expectations at the Rio Olympics, that story I can do in 2 days. So again, it depends on how newsy those stories are and how quickly you need to get those stories on air. And that's how you get your targets. And that's how much time you usually take.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
My question is that how many times media undermines the truth on the pretext of national interest, we can say?
Sorry, I can't hear you. Your voice is very... Slow down. Aram, dheere dheere bolo.
How many times media, particularly the Indian media, undermines the truth on the pretext of national interest?
A lot of times. You need to understand, we at times get a lot of stories which, if they go out in public, they will hurt a lot of sentiments, which will create a lot of unrest, will create a lot of communal disharmony. You stop the stories. There has to. So with that power, you get some responsibility as well. If there are 10 million people watching you at the same time, you need to care about their interests as well. So you know certain people would want the story forward, but a majority of them would feel that this would result into one possible ripple down effect, which will lead to something else. So you would stop that story, or you would lay down that story. You would not keep that story up. I know it is wrong, but at times you need to maintain a national interest. It's, I'll give you an example. It's something like, inshallah, it doesn't happen to any one of us. But for example, if any one of your close relatives passes away, so, and you're about to go in and write your, say for example, your second semester exams, will that other person come back and tell you that your close relative has passed away just before your second semester exams? It is important to you. Mind you, it is important to you. That relative was very close to you. But the other person thinks that no, I will not tell the person till the point he finishes with his exam. And once you come out of exam, yes, you will be angry. You will be upset that why didn't you tell me? But it is for your interest, because you will not be able to give your exam properly, right?
I think that was a very interesting answer. Yes. Any question from Madras Christian College before we close on? Okay.
Okay, there's one question I think coming from Baramulla.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
आप repeat कर दीजिए, please.
My name is Dayal. I'm BMMC first sem. So my question is related to journalism, as you are also a sports journalist.
Sports journalist, okay.
As you are a sports journalist, that's fine. So here in Kashmir, very little scope of journalism. Very little scope of journalism. But I'm interested in sports journalism. What should I do in order to make my career in sports journalism?
Well, are you writing for any website? Are you writing for your college newsletter, your college magazine?
No, sir, no, sir.
I would suggest you start writing for your college magazine straight away. Your newsletter, go around the town, look at stories, what are happening. The Kashmir Valley Cricket tournament is a big thing. We carry it in NDTV as well. It has a lot of impact on on people from Kashmir, their cricket. There are a lot of sports stories coming out of Kashmir. Parvez Rasool is one example. Go out, discover things. Go out, look at things. Start writing for your college magazine to start with, because that will be one platform that will help you gain confidence and then work your way forward towards national media.
Yes, but here in Kashmir, newspapers are not interested in sport journalism. How can I compel them to accept sport journalism as one of the best beats?
Start writing differently. Start presenting differently.
But sir, they are not. Sir,
I'm sure they're not. I'm sure they're not. My parents also were not interested in sports journalism, but there is a way to, okay. When I came, when you saw that notification probably in your college that there will be a sports journalist who will come down and talk to you, you probably half of you, maybe half in Baramulla, half in Madras, half in KBS Business School, were not interested in listening to this. You were like, okay, baithna padega, we'll sit, okay, fine, the teachers have asked us, fine. But are you finding it interesting? Give me a hands up if you're finding this conversation on this topic. Oh, great. Everyone's finding this interesting. So you have to create interest. You were probably not interested in coming to this lecture, but you got interested, right?
Yes. Yes.
Interest बनाना पड़ता है सर. Interest बना बनाया नहीं मिलता. मेहनत हमें यही लगती है कि जब हम जाके ढूंढने कि एक स्टोरी है परवेज रसूल की. परवेज रसूल को हर सब जानते हैं, हर कोई जानता है. बट परवेज रसूल बना कैसे? क्या स्ट्रगल की उनकी लाइफ? तो आप जाओ, उनके पास बैठो, उनसे बात करो, एक कहानी लिखो, वो कहानी अपनी स्कूल में, कॉलेज मैगजीन में छापो. पीपल विल स्टार्ट रीडिंग इट. It will not have immediate impact. आप day one पे एंकर नहीं बनते, आप day one पे एक प्रोड्यूसर बनते हैं, एक इंटर्न बनते हैं. तो आप day one पे एक न्यूज चैनल के लिए नहीं लिख पाएंगे, या मे बी आप एक कॉलेज मैगजीन के लिए स्टार्ट कीजिए. धीरे धीरे यू वर्क योर वे अप. इंटरेस्ट बनाने से बनता है.
Yes, sir. Can I get your contact number, sir, please?
I will ask Vbind to give you my contact number.
Yeah. So I think for all the students who have got their questions left, if Mr. Chawla can share his Twitter ID, we can ask all these students to just tweet him all the questions, and Mr. Chawla will be answering that.
Sure. There are a couple of more which are coming this way. I have time. Yeah.
Okay,
we can take those questions if admin permits.
Yeah, for sure.
And the teachers, of course. Okay, go ahead, ma'am.
Malia from Media Studies. I want to ask that when there is a boom of journalism everywhere in the world, so but the sources are limited. So how difficult it is to generate a source who will give us exclusive stuff to report?
It is very difficult to cultivate a source, but at the same time, you need to understand it is important as well. It's again, I'll give you an example. What's your favorite food? What do you like to eat the most? What do you like to eat the most?
They are saying Wazwan.
Sorry? Wazwan, okay. What if tomorrow the cost of Wazwan goes up to 500 rupees per plate? You would still want it, right? You would still want it. You'll try and do something about it because you want that. You have that hunger for that particular delicacy and you would want it in any circumstance possible. So you would find a way out. Similarly, the same thing happens to a source. If you really want that story, and if that source is acting pricey or being difficult, you would find a way out. You would chase that source. You will convince that source. You'll probably take the source out for a dinner and then convince that source to give you the information. But it is very important. It is very important. And once again, it's a very symbiotic relationship with the source. It's a very symbiotic relationship. You gain some, you lose some, you win some, you get some. That way.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sir, if you can please share your Twitter ID on the screen, all the students can just write it down.
Sure, if I can place it on the chat, right?
Yes.
Okay. This is my Twitter ID, @Chawla_Yash. you can tweet there. I will answer every single question of yours. And in case you are, in case you feel that you want to contact me personally, then I can give you my Facebook page as well. So 1 second. I will just send you the link for that as well. This is my Facebook page.
Yes, so we have got multiple ways to contact Mr. Yash through his Twitter ID, through his Facebook. Besides, we'll be posting this video on YouTube as well as our Facebook page, or Mr. Yash Chawla's page. You can directly ask the questions in the comment down below. And I'm very sure this would be one of the most interesting session that the student must have experienced. And we really thank you for coming down and taking this session for the students. Can we have a round of applause for Mr. Chawla, please?
It's an absolute honor to be here to talk to you all, because meeting a lot of new people is always fun. Understanding what you have and understanding about journalism is always fun. It's always very interesting. And if you have any doubts, if you have any questions, tweet to me or write to me on Facebook, and I'll be more than happy to answer all of your questions. And yes, if any of you want internships or you want help apart from this, please feel free. And hopefully people at VBind would give us more opportunities in the future to talk to each other once again. And thank you so much for being and listening to us.
Thank you once again.